Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you are all here. And if you feel so inclined and you get the chance, please hit that subscribe button down below. If you hit the bell notification icon, it'll notify you when I release new video content. It'll also notify you when I go live. It'll notify YouTube that you're a human who's interested in knife and EDC content. So it'll basically help more people see my videos. And I really appreciate it if you would, if you're so inclined, please subscribe. But we'll jump right into it today. And what I wanted to do is, I've done this once before, and I kind of want to do it probably a couple more times, but I wanted to talk about 5 more really well done, in my opinion, American made knives that I think are perfect in their own right. They're unique. They are, again, made here in the USA. And I'm going to start off in no particular order with the Spyderco Manix 2. The Spyderco Manix 2 this particular version was a Knife Center exclusive that came in CPM crewwear. It had black G10 and it had steel liners that had jimping on them like the Manix 2s do. I picked up these scales from Rockscale Designs, another USA company. These are graphite colored titanium in a dragon scale pattern. And what's cool about these scales is they allowed me to remove the jimpy liners from the Manix 2 and make it more of an EDC knife suited for how I like to carry knives, right? I like it to be smooth. I don't need the heavy jimping. I've still got the jimping on the blade. Great finger choil. They did the scales very, very well. The Manix 2, from Spyderco standpoint, between this and the Shaman, this is a little bit smaller. It's a little bit more EDCable. I find it a little bit more of a light duty carry that's still up to doing heavy duty work, if that makes any sense. So when we're talking about USA made knives and we're talking about the ones that are the favorites in my collection, I would be remiss not to mention the Spyderco Manix 2, this particular model in crewwear, made in Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. And what makes this knife so special to me and makes me even like it that much more are these Rockscale Designs, Dragon Scale, linerless scales out of titanium. I think they're fantastic. So that is the Spyderco Manix 2, made in Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. Larger batch production knife, but still made here in the US. Moving on, we will talk about the Rick Hinderer half track. This is a chunky little Warncliffe that I'll fail trying to reverse flick it, so I won't embarrass myself there. I can reverse flick this knife, guys, very easily. This one is stonewash finish. A lot of people think this is a very ugly knife, and I totally understand it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I love this knife. The only mod that's been made on this knife besides the scale is brother said Stevie got this Lynch deep carry clip, Medford clip, that he thought would fit his J-cape, but he forgot about the little indention that they make for the Medford clips to slip in. There's a little indention and he didn't want to sand that off. So he knew that I had some XM18s and several Medfords and he made it available to me. Thank you, said Stevie. It matches perfectly. And this little knife is, like I say, it's a chunk. It's got several grip positions. It's a smaller knife in overall length. It's probably going to be close to, I won't break that out, but we'll look at it next to the Manix. So it's a much smaller knife than the Manix, but it's also going to be a little bit thicker than the Manix. So when I look at the Hinderer half track, what I like about it is it's got very simple but durable construction. You've got titanium lock side with a really nice done lock bar, very good tang set up here. You've got steel lock bar inserts. You've got MagnaCut blade. This came with a G10 scale, but I upgraded it to a titanium stonewash scale to matchy. And again, the knife flips great. It's got the tri-way system. So it's on bearings now, but you can put it on washers, or you can also put it on the phosphorus bronze washers or the Teflon washers. So I've kept mine running on bearings because I don't get them out in super dirty environments. But I have handled several Hinderers. A good buddy of mine, A to Z EDC, has one set up with washers, and it feels great. But this half track is available in other blade shapes. As ugly as some people think this is, I really like the way it looks. I think it's an aggressive looking little Wharncliffe. Fits my hand great. It's a great EDC knife, and it's also a hard use EDC knife. You could beat the bejesus out of this knife, and you're gonna be fine. I don't know if the MagnaCut is at an optimal heat treat, but again, to me, I went into it knowing that, and it's not that big of a deal because I won't be putting it through those type of paces. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I've middle finger flicked it now a couple of times when I don't think about it. It's breaking in great. Just a really fine made USA knife. I love the slab titanium scales. I love the heaviness, the weight, the girth of the knife. And I just really do. It's definitely a top knife in my collection. And it's one of the 5 banging USA knives we're talking about today. So moving on, we'll come to an oldie but a goodie, reimagined a little bit. This is the ProTech Malibu. I think in my first 5 really cool USA made knives, I broke out the ProTech board axe in MagnaCut that I picked up at the Nashville Custom Knife Show. I picked this knife up at last year's Nashville Custom Knife Show. Also picked it up from Dave over at ProTech. This is the reverse Tanto, as a lot of people hate that name because it doesn't have a sharpened Tanto edge, so there's really nothing reverse Tanto about it. But however you want to look at it, you can call it a modified sheep's foot, reverse Tanto, it doesn't matter to me. But it is a medium-sized knife that fits my hand absolutely perfectly. It's actually, when I was going through this knife tonight, looking at it as opposed to a couple of other ProTechs that I have and that I love, including the board axe. This knife, even though it's in CPM 20 CV, which I don't mean to say even though, it's not in MagnaCut like the board axe, this blade steel holds up very well to what I use it for. It's got a really good Javon Blitz 360 edge on it. It works very well. It goes in and out of the pocket with ease. I love this split clips that ProTech uses. Everything about this knife, and the thing that probably surprises me the most is I've had this knife, I chased it for years, picked up the main old school aluminum, had it in my collection, loved it. Picked this up at Nashville Custom Knife Show from Dave. Loved it, so I had 2 ProTechs in my collection, and I started feeling guilty because I saw people that were looking for them, and bumped into a brother who was looking for it, who does great things for the community and was doing it as part of a raffle. So I made it available to him. I shipped it straight to Way of Knife. They did some really outrageous mods on it, made it look like a totally different knife, and then this gentleman just did something kind for people with it, like he does. Fantastic individual. I'm not going to call him out because I don't know if he'd like me to, but the ProTech Malibu, for many, many reasons, is always going to be a top knife in my collection, and it's going to be definitely, what I'm talking about, top USA made knives that make me feel totally stoked that I have in my collection. I'm glad and will continue to have them in my collection. ProTech Malibu is one of them. So we're getting down to the last 2 guys. And the way I'm going to do this is in no particular order again, but I'm going to start with my favorite USA knife manufacturer and probably their finest, most sought after offering. I have the perfect opportunity to get this knife at the Nashville Custom Knife Show, and I did. Hillary was there, customer service, one of the gals that runs TRM. She hooked me up with this knife. I'm forever grateful. The only thing that I wish, if I could say anything about this knife, is I wish I could put titanium scales on it, like I do on the Atom and on the Neutron and on the other knives. But I talked to Hillary at a Nashville Custom Knife Show this year, and she informed me that the way these are made and the way that the liners are pretty much made for each set of scales, it's not just because this is like a Benchmade and they're worried that it's going to be too difficult for somebody to take apart. It's just because they actually make the scales, titanium scales, for each knife. So that ramble and that long pontification while I'm cutting with the super slicey knife was just to say that I would love to own this knife in titanium. So I am on the lookout for drops, and I talked to Hillary, and I'm going to be at Blade Show. And if I do make the plunge and find a titanium Shaddow to go with my titanium Atom and my titanium Neutron, I will probably make this guy available. But it's done with the River Lock, which is TRM's version of the bar lock. Let me pick this up, and I will tell you that it operates so much better than any bar lock I've used. The only one, there are two bar locks that I would put up against the TRM bar lock, which is the River Lock with TRM, and I would not give the other knives an advantage. And what I love about it, see how that sucks that blade back in? You don't have to worry about that shaking out. Well, that one shook out. I think I hit the studs, guys, because I can't shake it out now. But it's got good detent, is what I'm saying. And it's not real detent because it's not a detent ball, but the springs seem sufficient to suck the blade back in. Keep in mind, I'm horizontal, and I'm trying to get the timing right. But this knife's ergonomics are fantastic. The G10 scales, another reason I really want the titanium, is you do feel the edges of the G10. It's not sharp, it's not uncomfortable, but I think after working with this knife for an hour or two, I'm thinking the titanium would probably be a little smoother on the hands, but you could also go in there and you could knock those interior corners down if it was something that bothers you. I just noticed it, so I pointed out. It's not a problem. But this is in 20 CV. It's in G10. They also make this knife in micarta, kind of a burgundy micarta, and of course they're releasing it in titanium, and I've seen them post some really cool stuff with bronze and copper on their site, so be on the lookout for those. And I could recommend this to anybody. TRM is my favorite US manufacturer for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, they do something kind for the community almost every day. And no, that's not just by putting perfect knives out there, fantastic knives out there. They donate to causes. They donate to people in need. They don't do it with a lot of fanfare. A lot of the local causes they support, they don't even talk about. I know for a fact that they're giving, kind people. I know for a fact that they try to source everything, if they don't make it, down to the screws, in the USA from USA manufacturers, except for their carbon fiber, which they source in Lithuania. And they talk about that. They talk about it on their website. They're very transparent, and they're just wonderful people. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Lee Halpern, but I have met Marianne several times. I talk to her from time to time. We have no business relationship. I'm just a fanboy who supports them. And I just want them to know when I have an opportunity, I don't want someone in customer service only to get phone calls that are negative. So when I get something that goes well, which has been every transaction, scale transaction or other from TRM, I reach out up to them and let them know how appreciative I am and how much I'm enjoying it. And then on videos that I'll make, I send them links to the videos in case they want to use them for anything. I'm not asking for anything in return. Don't want anything in return. I just want to support people whose work and whose ethics I totally agree with. And TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing, I can get behind the people and I can get behind the product, which is a win-win. Now that's a transition into this knife, which I also love. This is the Medford Slim Midi. This is the second Medford I brought into my collection. The first being the Medford Infraction, which is a fantastic knife, which will definitely make one of my 5 USA knives to really make a difference in my life. But the Slim Midi here is, to me, and again, I talk about keep love in your heart, choose debate over hate, right? I'm not going to go off on a ramble here. I do not pick sides. I do not dogpile. I do not, the words I'm looking for is, I do vote with my dollars, but in a case where someone, I do not agree with their political stances, or I don't agree with the football team that they pull for, or I don't agree with the church that they belong to, or I don't agree with what they do behind closed doors that doesn't affect me, I try not to let that make me or keep me from enjoying knives that the designs and the aesthetic and the fact that it's a USA company that implies USA workers, that does a lot for the USA knife manufacturing community, believe it or not, but gets a lot of negative press, is the polarizing figure Greg Medford. I have no issues with Greg Medford. I think everybody's got the right to their opinion. I don't think Greg's expecting everybody to agree with his opinion. He's just very passionate, but I'm not going to apologize for anybody. I'm just going to talk about this knife. And to me, it is thin, but it is capable. It is as hard use as you would want. It's a frame lock knife with an S90V blade. And guys, that is a honking chunk, even though it's thin, of S90 steel. That is a wonderfully ground, super sharp, super nice, compact package that's the same size as the Midi Marauder, but it's the Slim Midi, so it's going to be much more EDCable. I love this knife. I love carrying this knife. I love the falling leaves pattern, is what that's called, and the flamed anno on the knife. I think Medford on the Infraction, the Slim Midi, or the Slim Midi and the Midi Marauder, and even the Big Marauder, are knives that I'm really attracted to the design. And then there are designs like the Smooth Criminal, the Praetorian, the Praetorian Slim. Some of those designs don't speak to me as much, but the ones that do, I'll just tell you, didn't always speak to me. I did not think, I would own a Medford because I would be able to make the conscious decision of how to put that money aside to get a Medford, which I found out through a brother in the community, Dark Gravity. It's real easy. You just don't buy a lot of knives that you don't really want, like budget knives. You don't buy 6 or 7 budget knives and you've got enough put back for a Medford. So that's the way I looked at it, and I wasn't attracted to the style of Medfords. And I handled Jared Neves at Blade Show. I already had this knife, but I was not carrying it much. And Jared's action was so much better than mine. And I asked him why. And just like the straight up dude he is, he said, dude, because I use it. You just got to break it in. So that's what I did. I started using the knife. I started carrying it. It's drop shutty. I'm horizontal. It flicks great. The lock bar, even though you've got less access there, that's one thing that I would like to see, and I don't know how Medford would do that. You've got this chamfered out here so that you can get in, but you don't have anything cut out here. Maybe that would be nice if that was done somehow, but anyway, I don't have a problem with it. It's not prohibitive, but it could be done better. Locks up like a tank. You've got these really tough external stop pins. You do have the exposed detent area, which some people don't like, kind of like getting lint in your belly button. But overall, pound for pound, I do like the smaller Medford knives. I don't have to agree with everything the maker says, but I'm not going to boycott the knives. And that's just my personal rant, and I apologize. I say it in love. I don't want to get anybody upset, but if that upsets you, I apologize. So, the 5 knives that I think are really freaking cool that are made here in the good old USA in no particular order are the Spyderco Manix 2, the Hinderer Half Track, the ProTech Malibu, the TRM Shaddow, and the Medford Slim Midi. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by and watching my rambles, watching my observations of knives in my collection. I hope you find it entertaining, or I hope you get something out of it, or something helps you understand something about a knife you might have had a question about. But I love each and every one of you. Again, if you're so inclined and you've made it this long, it'd mean everything to me if you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification icon. I promise I'll keep bringing knife content and EDC content. And if you guys leave comments on what kind of content you'd like to see, I'll do my very best to deliver that content to you guys. I'm learning every day, trying to not offend people, trying to come out with content that the most people will resonate with. But most importantly, also try to come out with content that means something to me, so that when I tell you guys about it, it's authentic and it'll someday maybe mean something to you. It'll help you make a decision, good or bad, to either stay away from a knife or go towards a knife. It's such a subjective thing, guys. I won't ramble anymore. Please look out for the guy or girl to your left. Please look out for the guy or girl to your right. Keep loving your heart. Move forward with debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.